Joel-Salatin at Polyface-Farm's next on Meet the Farmer TV.
Our mission statement is to create ecologically, emotionally, and economically enhancive agricultural prototypes and facilitate their duplication throughout the world. And so anything that we can do to promote these models will touch and heal one more acre, one more customer, one more farm.
Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melli Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Culpeper's Channel 21, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture. A multi-generational effort to heal land here in Central Virginia at Polyface Farm. Arugula to zucchini at the White House.
Save the family farm.
In the kitchen.
Model for local food production.
And the bill passed, although we still want those pickles on there.
You'll probably live long enough to sell a $2 a pound tomato. He said, but you ain't never gonna plow a piece of flat ground that ain't got any rocks in it.
For locally grown food.
It's about market access.
Plants don't have personalities. And I got one, so someday.
We have a great solution to some of these crises that we're now facing.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching
Meet the Farmer TV.
I'm Joel-Salatin. Welcome to Polyface Farms. You're enjoying Meet the Farmer TV.
I bet you the backyard people that buy your pullets, they really appreciate your eggs after they've had a season of raising eggs.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? It's funny, on the broilers, when we started back 30 years ago, we had a little tabletop picker that we upgraded to the drum style automatic. But that thing sat around here, and somebody wanted, that's what I used when I was in 4-H as a teenager to do my stewing hens, you know, when I got spent hens. And so it was sitting around here, and somebody wanted to start the broilers. I said, hey, you know, here, why don't you just use this picker and, you know, take it, and if you ever quit, then, you know, bring it back. Or if we ever want it back, we'll know where it is. But at least, you know, kind of prime their pump, if you will. We loaned that thing out 6 times over the course of about 10 years. Every single person started for a year or two, it's too much work, and it brought us their customers. And then somebody else said, oh, I want to do that, you know, and then they start and bring us their customers. So, you know, it's a real, it became quite a joke, you know, when we said that picker was our best marketing effort ever, because it always brought us so many customers when the people got tired of doing it and quit. So anyway, that's
a real interesting concept about this really faithfulness.
Yes.
And what you're doing is, if someone else does it and thinks they're going to get rich easy,
no,
they're easily coming right back as a customer, because they're like, thank you for doing that for me. That was way too hard for me to do. I had no idea.
Right. But how many people would be willing to do that to a neighbor afraid of competition?
Yeah.
See? And I just really believe in the Stephen Covey, you know, plenty, not scarcity. I think that the world is big enough to absorb all of this that you can imagine, and so just get out there and do it, and touch your people and your neighbors and enjoy it. So that's how we've been.
Well, we can't get everybody out to Polyface to see it in person, but we can provide this video, and people can see some of the things.
That's right.
So let's see some more of the happy animals and faithfulness.
That
of the
sounds
farm.
great. Let's do that. All right, this is salad bar beef. So every day we stepped over electric fence coming in. So they have about a little less than half an acre here. There's 100 head here, and yesterday afternoon when I moved them in here, it looked just like that. Okay. This afternoon, I will move them over into that salad bar. So what we're doing here is we're mimicking the moving, mobbing, and mowing of herbivorous herds in nature. You know, the wildebeest on the Serengeti, American buffalo, Cape buffalo in Botswana, okay? They're always moving, they're always mobbed up for predator protection, and they're mowing. And so that's what we're doing here. There's no feedlot. These animals come right off of here, go straight to the slaughterhouse. No corn, no grain, no feedlot. straight off of the salad bar right into the abattoir.
And now we were talking about the heritage. So the Native Americans really used to do this with sort of controlled burn.
Absolutely, controlled burn,
electric fence.
and wolves. That the Indians didn't, the Native Americans didn't control the wolves, but the wolves were part of that whole partnership.
Keeping that mob together.
And keeping that herd closed up tight. Right. Yeah, when you close the herd up tight like that, they graze much more aggressively. You notice how evenly this is grazed. I mean, there's some weeds here, but they've eaten. What happens is they eat things that they would never normally eat,
right?
Because of the aggressive grazing. They don't have time to be as picky, and that is a very primal, instinctual thing that we're recreating here with the tight grouping. And
so if you let them run over this whole area versus these containments, you'd end up with thistles and
that's exactly right,
and cedar trees. And,
that's right,
and more and more of these briars.
Yeah, what's called low successional plants.
Because they'd go for the sweet pieces and leave that other and just move around.
That's right. So they actually seek out the palatable species. I mean, cows have a palatability index just like you and I. You know, they like their ice cream better than liver and onions too. Yeah. And so they selectively graze, and cows always eat dessert first. So when they begin eating dessert, initially, if that's all they get, then all the liver and onions and the vegetables or whatever, you know, you don't like, that all goes to seed and gets stronger and stronger, and the pasture debilitates to unpalatable species instead of succeeding and healing to better and better species. The other thing is that they get a totally fresh new salad bar. Let's walk over and see the salad bar. So now we're standing in what will be this afternoon's ration plate for them. And you've got, let's see, we've got some white clover here, okay, and here's orchard grass. Here's Timothy, okay, that's a kind of later season.
A lot of people are very allergic to that Timothy.
Yeah, here's some bluegrass. Okay, thank you. Red clover, that's another legume. Here you've got some ground ivy or violet. Here's a dandelion. Okay. I'm looking around for some plantain. We have a fair.
Here we go.
There you go. Yeah. There's your wide leaf plantain. Okay. There's also narrow leaf. I'm having trouble seeing it right now, but here's a Queen Anne's lace that at this stage, by the way, is very palatable. They love it. They don't like it when it gets real big, but at this stage, it's real tender and succulent.
Now, do you have any toxicity problems? A lot of times, people they'll have the cows down by the stream, and they'll get into what are some of the
fescue foot, fescue fungus, and that.
But there's some of the weeds too that
like nightshade or
and the big parsnip or something that I can't remember.
Yew plant. Yeah. Well, of course, wilted cherry is toxic, but.
And I see, we've got some of these little.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Carolina nightshade,
But but if we look out here where they've been eating if they haven't totally eaten it because it's kind of thorny, they have trampled it.
They have trampled it. That's the idea. That if they're being this mob oriented, if they don't eat it, they stomp it. And so this is a total equal opportunity plant destroyer, rejuvenator. Okay. The key to controlling the weeds is, again, to mimic this, the practicing the biomimicry of the herbivore, the mobbing, moving, and mowing that we do. And what's interesting is that, see, this is the 6th time this has been grazed this year. All right, and so this will be the 6th cycle through. The point being that when you extract the cows so that they're only on one spot, maybe 6-7 days in a year. What happens is that most of the time the farm is at rest, the fields are at rest, and as a result, those areas, the grass is able to grow through its blaze of growth cycle. And when it can go through its blaze of growth cycle, it metabolizes way more solar energy into biomass than it would if it's continually grazed down short, okay? What I call diaper grass. Letting it go through that juvenile growth curve and come on. The result is that the average Augusta County farm gets 80 cow days per acre. A cow day is what one cow will eat in a year. The average in Augusta County is 80 cow days per year. We average 400 cow days. And we haven't bought a bag of fertilizer in 50 years. We haven't planted a seed.
Well, this is a pretty nice, diverse stand. And
yes.
So this is the Polyface all-you-can-eat.
That's the salad bar. That's the salad bar, exactly, right there. So the thing to remember about this food safety stuff is that it's not about food safety, it's about market access. It's about under what conditions can you access the market. It has nothing to do with food safety. That's the important thing for people to understand. And
some farmers have actually tried to fight this and gotten, you know, serious hassle.
Oh yes, oh yeah. You want to get in trouble, you just start selling some uninspected T-bone steaks, and you'll be in big trouble real quick.
So your solution was then to play part of the game.
Yeah. We bought in with Joe Cloud to the T&E meats in Harrisonburg. Which, you know, we were concerned about we would lose. It was the abattoir that we were using, and, you know, Tommy and Irma May were in their 80s and, you know, starting to slow down.
They didn't have a second generation.
No, they didn't, and so we bought into it in order to keep that the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker embedded in the village.
Right.
You know, that's the ultimate food security, is to keep the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker embedded in the village.
So here, the faithfulness of the farmer and that passion for trying to keep that going led you to actually become a beneficiary for the greater community.
Sure.
To invest, you know, not in a grand stock fund, but in a high-risk venture.
It's high risk.
To keep beef here local.
Yeah, it sure is. It's plenty high risk, but we're very, very tickled with it. I'm having some thoughts about maybe moving these cows. If it weren't, they would move if I called them, I think, and it might make an interesting.
They're following you around.
Yeah, it might make an interesting thing.
You got it. You got the fence already up.
Yeah,
right?
Fence is up. All I got to do is open the gate down here and move them. The spark is on. It makes it a little bit problematic, but.
Oh, you have a distance to go to turn.
Yeah, it's down at the far corner down there.
Well, we could go on the other side, and that would help them move this way.
They would move if I called them, I think. Come on, gal. Come here. Come on. Come on, gal. Come on, gal. Come on, gal. Come on. Come on. Come on, gal. Come on, gal. Up here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, gal. Come on.
We didn't need any prods or horses or anything.
No.
Now, we were talking about the rotation cycle, breaking the pathogens and the pests, parasites. Do you have to, I mean, if this was a commercial operation, you'd be like pressure washing and sanitizing.
Oh, yes.
So will you just set them in the field and let them get rained on? And
absolutely. They're just sitting in the field here, and you know, sunshine's going through them, fresh air. I mean, UV is the best sterilizer in the world, and so yeah, they're just sterilizing, just sitting out here in the environment, ready for the next go.
So part of what you're doing, in addition to the health of the bird, is that's helping the environment because you're reducing that load of necessary.
If all chickens were raised this way, think of how many hundreds and hundreds, you know, thousands of gallons of fumigants and antibacterials and all this that wouldn't have to be done in commercial buildings.
Or if we were to go to a third world country that doesn't have that infrastructure.
That's right. Oh, you know, the beauty of these things is every time I get a visitor from a third world, you know, from a developing country, an LDC or a developing country, all of them last year I had a tribal chief from Kenya come. And interestingly, the church that he was affiliated with that had sent a mission team to his tribe, one of their members is a industrial chicken grower. Well, he took him to see his chicken farm, and there was nothing there that was applicable for Kenya.
Right.
But when he came here, he said, this is exactly what we need. And so, you know, here's what's cool. This also works in an industrial country like ours because it's so much better food, better for the environment, all those kinds of things. I've kind of developed my own little definition of truth, or you know, one permutation of truth is, you know that you're on to truth when it works in both developing and undeveloped countries.
Okay.
That's when you're on to agricultural truth, is when the model is just as applicable and current in a high-tech industrial country as it is in a developing country. So that's when you know you got something.
So we could call that appropriate technology.
Yes, absolutely.
You got the microchips in your Energizer, but you don't require the infrastructure of huge sanitization.
And thinking about those turkeys, thinking about that, you could take enough, all the high-tech infrastructure. Let's say you were on a mission trip, or you were on an agricultural help trip, okay, to a developing country. All the stuff here that they don't have, which is just the Energizer and the fencing, you could pack all that in your luggage on an airplane. Yeah. Enough to do the whole village stuff. They've got sheets of metal sitting around, they've got wood, you know, they've got batteries, everybody's got batteries, you know. So the really critical high-tech infrastructure is such a light footprint, it's so information dense and mass, and low in mass, that you could stick it in your luggage and take it for a whole village of animal control.
Yeah.
And then the beauty of that is these animals that are running around under the huts, under the squat pots, and the spreading the human, it's a sanitation problem. Right. Okay. Then what you do is you raise twice as many animals, but because you're able to control them and break the pathogen cycle, suddenly you have an anti-pathogen, hygienic, sanitary model instead of one that actually debilitates the population, makes people sick, animals sick, and is unhealthy for the village.
Right. So you've created a rotation to help with the human pathogen.
And that's why this is such an exciting time to live, is because we've never had this kind of light footprint infrastructure, high-tech infrastructure to make, to more fully respect and honor the chickenness of the chicken and the turkeyness of the turkey.
How are you getting all this water up here?
We have a pond, a couple ponds we built up in the foot of the mountain.
You're just doing surface hoses?
All gravity feeds, All right, so we move these once a day. You can see, of course, here's where they were yesterday. We just stick the dolly under, just enough to break the sod. Good morning, birdies. Take the feeder out, and then the birds just walk to the next spot.
So these guys have no bottom on the pen. There's no slats or wire.
No, it's totally bottomless amongst thousands of chickens and turkeys. There's no odor, there are no flies. I mean, you could have this in your backyard. This could be in a residential development, okay? And that's one of the things we believe, that good food production, good farming should be so aesthetically, aromatically, sensually romantic that it can be embedded in anyone's backyard. Right. Ultimately, if it stinks or is unsightly or is repugnant to the point where somebody doesn't want it in their backyard, why would you want it on your plate?
Right.
And ultimately, the only way to actually have food safety is to have that integrity of transparency that only comes when people want to get close to their food, which includes getting close to it on a farm.
Well, now a lot of people do want to have chickens in their backyard, and as you once said, everything they want to do is illegal.
Illegal, I know. Well, because the industry thinks that this is smacks of bioterrorism, because the red-winged blackbirds come out and commiserate with these birds and take our diseases to the science-based Tyson chicken houses. And I mean, that's why we even have House Bill, what is it, 2879 now, the Food Modernization Act, going through, and one of the provisions is to allow the Food and Drug Administration warrantless access to every farm in America to determine if there are any practices being done that are not science-based. Well, this is not science-based. You know, Tyson is science-based. And so, you know, these food safety laws that are being promulgated are bad news.
Now, do you have problems with hassling, or someone coming in saying, you know, this we're concerned about this method, or?
Oh yeah, the last time there was avian influenza out, the high path or whatever, it wasn't high path, it was just avian flu outbreak in the area.
Would they want you to come clean everything out?
Oh yeah, we actually threw them off the farm. We wouldn't let them even take a blood sample.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, we don't trust them.
Yeah.
We don't. These, you know, to you. And I would speak to the people who trust the EPA. Why would you trust the EPA when you don't trust the Pentagon?
Yeah.
And to the people who don't trust the Pentagon, you know, why would you trust the EPA? I mean, and to the people who don't trust the EPA, why would you trust the Pentagon? Yeah. My point is that I don't trust these government officials, because basically they're all, you know, in bed with the industrial food cartel, and this ultimately represents freedom from pharmaceuticals, freedom from petroleum, freedom from trucking, and all sorts of neat things that are happening here that are freedoms. And there are a lot of people in this country that don't want you and I to really have ultimate freedom.
Right. We need to buy stock in that.
Yeah, you need to buy
that's doing it the right way.
Exactly.
To protect
the
us.
science-based way.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, now there really is science in what you're doing.
Oh.
And the line breeding you did with the rabbits.
Absolutely.
The fact that you are moving things every 24 hours.
No pathogens.
There's more science in that than trying to control it with a chemical.
Absolutely. But we in our culture, we worship at this well, I call it pseudoscience, but it's attacking symptoms instead of real causes, and in the greater culture, people are more give more awards for creating a pharmaceutical that will keep a Tyson chicken house bird healthy than they give awards for people that figured out a way to not have to use a pharmaceutical to begin with. Right. You see what I'm saying? And so it's that lopsided idea. Let's go look at some.
Now, with this NAIS, the Animal Identification System, is that going to affect you?
Absolutely.
Do they want all these birds
They
tagged?
want all these birds tagged with a $3.50 microchip, and there'd better not be a discrepancy between our inventory and what's on the database, or we have a $1,000 per day fine. So if a fox comes along and takes one, and we didn't know that it left, and we're audited, and there's a discrepancy, it's a $1,000 fine.
So are they tracking that chip in the fox now?
I guess so. I mean,
they're watching in the satellite. There's a chicken in the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the actual result of that kind of policy is the annihilation of everything that's indigenous heritage based, and the promulgation of everything that is simply industrial.
Well, now the large farms aren't going to have to chip everything.
No, that's right, because
you do, but then the house doesn't.
The house can get one chip for a 15,000 bird house because it's an all-in, all-out.
So the NAIS system is requiring you to put a chip on every bird.
Right.
But the industrial large house, they
don't have to because they're an all-in, all-out. I mean,
now what does that mean?
Well, it means all 15,000 birds go in one day and they all come out one day in tractor trailers.
And so they get one chip?
So they get one chip for the whole 15,000 50,000 bird house.
And you can't ship
we
this
can't
coop?
because we're taking out 10 one day and 15 another day, and then the turkeys another day, and so we have to microchip every single bird, which of course would be completely cost prohibitive, data prohibitive, you know, inventory prohibitive, and so these food safety laws by inaction create economic and logistical prejudice against the real answer of what they're trying to deal with.
Right. So we just went through how this system works better.
Yeah.
And yet one of the safety things has an unintended consequence of stopping you from doing the right.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
If you had a big mortgage and had to survive, you'd have to build a house.
Yes.
And undo all of these years of effort of this pasture.
That's correct. Yeah. Well, we wouldn't do it. I don't know what we would do. We would go to jail. We would not comply. We would whatever. And you know, my funny little soundbite on it is that Los Angeles County, California, has 50,000 backyard chicken flocks, many of which are fighting cocks, illegal fighting cocks, you know, owned by Hispanics and Asians. And I'm sure that they're all going to come down to microchip their illegal, you know what I'm saying? I mean, give me a break. I mean, what are they going to do? We're going to send the Marines in to Los Angeles County to every backyard chicken flock and microchip it? You know, it's a joke. It's crazy. But I asked a guy that was real high up in the USDA, it was actually a legislative aide for a congressman. I asked him, you know, well, why do you, this is silly, you know, silly. Why do you, it's foolish. And he said, well, the people expect something.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Well,
it doesn't matter if it works or not. All that matters is that I can send out little press releases of legislative things that I'm doing. It might be the worst thing in the world, but the people want me to do something. It's nuts. You know.
Yeah. So the big question would be then, Joel, how do you survive in this industrial food world?
So far we've been able to, but we've had our skirmishes. In fact, I wrote a book, Everything I Want to Do is Illegal, to describe the kinds of battles that we've had so far, and I can tell you that it's not getting better, it's getting worse. It's getting, even with all the paranoia of industrial food, even with everybody, a lot more people interested in local, you know, heritage-based, indigenous food, even with all that, believe me, as we take market share, as people opt out of the industrial system and we take market share, those big boys, they don't like that.
They're not happy.
They're not happy. And so they are willing to use the power of the Attorney General, the power of government pseudoscientists to foment paranoia to get you and I to give up our food security.
Well, there you have it. Polyface-Farm here with Joel-Salatin, a passionate farmer trying to heal more acreage, not just grow more crops. And you've watched another Meet the Farmer TV.
Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Planet Earth Diversified, Melli Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Culpeper's Channel 21, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia, and Flavor Magazine, serving the Piedmont's local food and wine culture.